Look, you're facing New Zealand again. You won the semi-final against them at the last T20 World Cup. Then, of course, there was the 50-over World Cup final. How much are you looking forward to this meeting?
Yeah, we can't wait. Obviously, a big achievement within itself, coming through the group stage like we did and topping the table. But now, it's all about producing as close to your best as we can. We know how good New Zealand are. We know how consistent they've been over the last number of World Cups, not only the recent ones, but you look further and beyond Kane's realm as captain. New Zealand have always been extremely competitive in and around semi-finals and finals consistently for some time now. So we're looking forward to a challenge.
Unlike those two meetings that I mentioned earlier, you won't have Jason Roy this time. What does his absence do to the side and the balance of the side?
Here, I think, like losing any of your experienced players, you can't really replace that experience that Jason has. He's played integral parts in our two previous World Cup campaigns. So very similarly to other guys that have been injured or have missed the tournament through injury, other guys have found something else within themselves to either try and fill that gap or contribute in a different way to the team. If you look right from the very beginning of our selection process leading into the World Cup, we've had a number of big name players missing from our squad, and that's continued both pre-tournament with Sam Curran and in the tournament with Jason Roy and Tymal Mills. So I think of all the good things that we've done well throughout this tournament, probably the strongest point has been the resilience within our squad to be able to find a way to move forward and forge on.
And just one final one on a wider issue, if I may. Today, the Independent Commission for Equity in Cricket have launched their call for evidence, where they're asking stakeholders in the English game to come forward and share their experiences of discrimination. From your point of view, why is it important to experience so that the Commission can get kind of as accurate as possible view, I suppose, of the English game?
Ben, sorry, the last bit of your question there, was crackly. Do you mind repeating it, please?
Yeah, sure. I just wonder why, from your point of view, it is important that people do share those experiences of discrimination with the Commission so that they can gather as accurate a reflection, I guess, as possible of the English game. Thank you.
Yeah, I think in a time of change, I think all opinions and examples need to be heard in order to, I suppose, find the best solution in trying to move forward and make things better for the future generations.
Thanks, Eoin.
Yes,
thanks, Ben. Let's go to Joe Wilson at the BBC. Go ahead, Joe.
Owen, how are you? Great to see you.
And you.
Look, there's lots of interest back here about these excellent performances that your team is putting together. It's another excellent tournament for England. And there is, of course, a lot of coverage still of what's going on at Yorkshire. What do you do as a captain to balance up those two things going on? I'm sure there's still a lot of interest and concern in your dressing room about what's ongoing from Yorkshire. As a captain, do you try and shelter the players from that, or are you still trying to encourage and embrace any concerns the players might have?
No, we definitely don't shelter anything that's going on, particularly things as serious and as relevant to our squad as anything that we've ever done, really. So when matters of such a serious nature ever arise, particularly when it comes to discrimination, and bear in mind that we talk about discrimination quite a lot, because in our group there are a lot of diversity. So we try and share our stories as much as we can. We're all products of county cricket, and at some stage throughout our careers, county cricket has had a substantial role to play in the position that we're in at the moment. And I think after winning the 2019 World Cup and becoming, I suppose, a more formidable side with a bigger platform, that has allowed us to be able to feel comfortable enough to continue to tell our different stories along the road and ultimately feel comfortable within our own skin to play great cricket on the field, but also to be a really strong role model on the field. And I suppose throughout what's going on at Yorkshire, we've continued to chat about things and how it might affect younger generations. Change, being at the forefront of change both on and off the field for us is not always easy, particularly at the beginning. And I think we're at one of those stages right now for Yorkshire. And within the group, we talk about seeing the bigger picture down the line and the huge benefit we will see coming into that county.
I guess the thing is, when you walk out to this big occasion again tomorrow, and followers of English cricket, whatever their race or background or culture, want to look at your team and think, I could belong in that team. Do you know? I mean, do you feel that is the case now? You feel the importance of that?
Yeah, well, certainly within the changing room, we do. When we feel comfortable about talking about things like this, simply because we think of ourselves as younger cricketers. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all want to be able to share our dream that we've dreamt about for so long as kids, and have been so lucky to live that dream. We want young kids to be able to picture that, but also picture a pathway in a way to be able to achieve it. So the things we do during this World Cup and beyond are very important in contributing to that.
And I was just going to ask you finally, from a cricket perspective, would you accept that you're strong favourites for this match, Eoin?
I wouldn't say strong favourites. New Zealand have a full strength squad. We've obviously been hampered with a lot of injuries throughout this tournament. We're playing really good cricket, and the guys are extremely excited about another challenge against New Zealand, and potentially the opportunity that might follow that. But we need to play really good cricket in order to beat the Black.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Joe. Let's go to Dean Wilson from the Mirror, and then we'll go David Charlesworth from the Press Association. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, hi Eoin. Just wondered whether you have made a decision on who would open the batting in place of Jason, if Johnny's going to step up there, and what how the team might all be altered.
Yeah, again, within the group, we've made a decision. I'm not willing to share that, unfortunately, Dean. But also the balance of the side still will be determined on how the wicket looks and how we make a match up against the Black Caps.
No worries. I just wondered as well, would you just have a word on one of your players, Liam Livingstone, and kind of how excited you are about his progress? And I know he's not one of the more experienced guys yet, but I think we saw a glimpse of what he's capable of with that huge blow in Sharjah, and obviously we've seen him score a T20 100 as well in the summer. I guess he's kind of replacing Ben Stokes in terms of that sort of three-dimensional cricketer. He's kind of doing everything for you out there. Just what a talent is he, and could this be, I guess, a chance for him really to explode on the global stage?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Liam. He is a guy that has the ability to contribute a bit like Ben at any stage of the game. He plays a brand of cricket that makes it easy for him to come in and settle into the side. We want him to be that attacking, aggressive player who takes the game on the whole time. I think the role that he's played, particularly with the bat, is not an easy role to play, batting in the lower middle order, where you have to continue to take high risk, but he seems to want to do that, which is great, because if you have somebody who comes in who starts thinking about himself, it creates a bit of an issue around role clarity and what guys are contributing to the team. So he's been extremely selfless when he's come in and done that role, and all we would like him to do is to continue that, because when he gets going, he's very difficult to stop. He's one of the cleanest strikers on the ball we have within our squad. So he's brilliant to have around.
And is he now taken over from Joss as the biggest hitter in your side? Do you think he's certainly the biggest hitter in this tournament?
I don't know, because I think that whatever you call the rangefinder thing that projects how big sixes are hit, I think that was on the blink at Dubai when we played against Australia.
Okay, cheers.
Sorry, let's move on to David Charles and then Lawrence Booth from the Daily Mail. Go ahead, David.
Thanks, Danny. Hi, Owen. I'll just pick up a little bit about the opener, obviously the big talking point tomorrow. I know I'm not going to press you for names, but obviously you're blessed with top order options, guys who've had plenty of experience at the top of the order. Was it a difficult decision to sort of decide who would come in for Jason alongside Joss?
I don't think it is. I think, like you mentioned, we are blessed with guys who want to bat or can bat at the top of the order, and actually who want to bat at the top of the order. If you look around, the highest run scorers, the big name players, they all want to bat or are batting in the top three in every team. And we're lucky we have guys that queue up and want to bat in that top three, which is great, because they want to go head to head with the big name players in the tournament. They want to go head to head with the big name bowlers in the opposition. So I think we're in a very lucky position that we have a number of guys to choose from.
Mm-hmm. And since the 2015 World Cup, you played a lot of bilateral series that have been 2-2 going into the last match, but you've often tended to prevail in those matches and in tournament games, thinking back to 2016 semi-final, the 2017 Champions Trophy group game, and then in the 2019 World Cup twice. I know the past doesn't guarantee the future, but is there any slight edge you can maybe take from that when the pressure's on or that little bit more intense? You've tended to have the upper hand in the last few years.
I don't think so. I'd probably take a bit more confidence from recent performances when there have been either difficult decisions to make or an opportunity to take the game away from the opposition. We've been able to do that. And I think being in a frame of mind where you're aware enough to recognise situations like that, I think is an even better situation than previous games that we've gone into. Because I think in those particular games that you mentioned, I'm not sure how many guys actually played those games. It'll probably be half of the team and not, say, 3/4 or majority of the side. So, again, there's no good if only half of you take confidence from that. You need the full experience of it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks very much. All the best.
Cheers, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Lawrence from the Daily Mail and Tim Wigmore, from the Daily Telegraph.
Hi, Owen. You mentioned the guys who will be missing tomorrow. And given all the big names that you've had to do without in this tournament, where would reaching the final under those circumstances rank among your various white ball achievements as England captain?
Well, I think that's a good question. I think it would be a really strong representation of what the 50 over side have achieved since 2015. I think we had a glimpse of that during our summer when we had to replace 15 players to play against Pakistan, and they ended up beating Pakistan's strongest ODI team 3-0. I think that was a glimpse into the next generation of English cricketer. But I think if we could achieve something like that, it would be, quite close to, you might only get to the final and lose, but getting to the final would be a hell of an achievement.
Thanks.
Tim Wigmore, please.
Hi, Owen. There's been a bit of kind of interest in the signal system that you guys use as a team. Could you just talk about the kind of importance and use of that for you as a captain?
Yeah, we started using it. What year are we now? The start of 2020, as an instrument to try and make me be a better captain. There's no better way of calling decisions that I make on the sideline than remembering exactly what the black and white decision might have been. So it's trying to integrate all the information with exactly what's going on in my brain and throughout the game. It has helped my captaincy at different stages, just for various reasons. It's given a different input. It's helped myself and Joss come to better decisions at different times. And equally, sometimes we've gone against it and it has worked as well.
Is there a particular decision that you think the signals really helped with?
There's not been a standout one yet. No. I mean, you think of a big decision to make in a game, which probably would have been the biggest decision of the tournament so far, was to bowl Chris Woakes those 3 balls when timeout Mills went down against Sri Lanka. Again, there's no signal for that. There's no question for that. There's no answer for that. Everything is in the heat of the moment. Who do you go into a short side? Is it your all-rounder? Do you waste one of your genuine bowlers with an over then and there?
Thanks. And just on, as it's a knockout match, is kind of one thing you want to guard against, kind of players going into their shell a little bit and kind of being a bit risk averse rather than playing the kind of aggressive brand of cricket you like to play?
We haven't done that in about 4 years, so I'll be very disappointed in that.
Thanks, Tim. Let's go to Vishesh Roy and Adriz Malik, and then we'll finish with Matt Rolland.
Hi, Eoin. I just wanted to ask that England has a very solid white ball depth and it is really something to be proud of. So I just wanted to know, does losing player not make you bogged down with? Because if any other team loses players of calibers like Ben Stokes, Sam Curran and Jason Roy, they might get really bogged down. But England comes up and every new player shines in every match.
No, I think it's a really good compliment to the changing room, to all of the players, and probably more so the support staff and head coach, who create an environment where young players can come in and thrive. It's a great culture to be able to come in and both learn and thrive at the same time, and it seemed to work for us for some time. And we've always talked about having a strength and depth within our squads as a whole, and there've been some instances where we've had to put out replacement teams, but I think in doing so, you could have 30 or 40 players within your domestic setup that could play international cricket or have the ability to do so. But if the right environment isn't set up, it doesn't matter what 11 you pick, you're not going to perform as an inexperienced player. You're going to have to go with experienced players the whole time.
Can I ask a follow-up?
We're short on time because we've got training to go to. So
no problem. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
Hi, and this is Adriz Malik from Frontline. Actually, you people are doing well in this World Cup and in the knockout round. And do you think there is something discussion about the New Zealand bowling in the dressing room that you have to do something special for that? And my second part for the question is, what do you think about the Pakistan performances? And you are looking something as a final in contestant?
I think New Zealand as a whole are a very strong team. It's probably one of their strongest points. They work well together. They never rely solely on one or two players. It's always a very collective effort. And I haven't watched any of the Pakistan games yet, so I can't comment.
And last question, just one question from Matt Roller, please.
Hi, Eoin. Just to pick up on what you were saying earlier about determining the balance of the side, is there a chance you replace Jason with one of the bowling all-rounders rather than a specialist batter? And could you expand a bit on what that decision would come down to?
Yeah, I suppose replacing him with another bowler would mean that you have 28 genuine overs on the field and, a lot of options. If you were to go with a batter, it would mean like a like-for-like replacement. So when we turn up and look at the wicket, depending if it's a really good batting wicket, only predicting if it's going to be a really good batting wicket, you might need the extra bit of bowling. And if it's not, you might need the extra bit of batting.
Thanks.